But in 20 years, the badge is going to be down here somewhere.
Be amazing. Super heavy shirt. Hi, welcome to the latest video on our channel. Today we're going to be taking you through the new season's J-League shirts. The first video is going to focus on some of the bigger brands that you would expect to find in the J-League, Nike, Adidas and Puma, and then our second video will focus on some of the smaller brands that might not show up in other leagues around the world.
Konnichiwa, Rob. Konnichiwa.
Exactly, Del Boy. So if we start with Kawasaki Frontal, so it's a Puma shirt. Interesting that it's an extra large in Asian sizing. So if you are looking to buy into J-League shirts, definitely something to think about if you were going to wear it rather than collect it, that the sizing is going to come up way smaller than perhaps you're used to. So something that Craig and I have experienced from our visits to Japan has been just how humid it is, super hot, really sweaty conditions. That's without playing elite level football. So you would expect the fabrics to be incredible and do a great job against that. This fabric doesn't feel great, if I'm honest. When I first touch it, it feels like super scratchy, cheap.
It's actually not too bad on the inside, I would say. I think the outside is...
Just because it's been sublimated so much.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's certainly not as bad as some of the other shirts we've seen.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of details which are interesting. You've got a lot of sublimation prints, you've got a lot of heat transfers, but then you've also got really clumsy stitched on badges, if you like, which when they wet out, that's going to be really heavy around the end of the arm.
Yeah.
I can only imagine that these have been applied afterwards. They're either state sponsors, league sponsors, or a sponsor that's coming a little bit later through the process.
But yeah, those two things probably weigh more than the rest of the shirt put together. It's like they've just come off one of Sterling Moss's race suits or something.
Yeah. But I thought what was also interesting was how they did the stars. So obviously the stars relate to the J-League wins, right? Yeah. So where you've got your stars going along, normally from a graphic designer's perspective, you would either centralize the next one or you would house them in a way that they all were symmetrical to the badge, whereas here they're obviously predicting that they're just going to win more.
It's quite cool, actually. I like it as an ambitious thing of like, just start a new line.
Yeah, exactly.
There'll be another one next to it next season.
But in 20 years, the badge is going to be down here somewhere.
Be amazing. Super heavy shirt. Speaking of years, though, quite interesting that we've got the 26th anniversary, which is since 1997. And given that it's 2022, in my maths, that's 25 years. But we figured out that this actually is
culturally relevant.
Yeah, exactly. So in traditional Japanese culture, you are one as soon as you're born. So that's why it's their 26th anniversary in 1997.
Yeah.
Quite like that the graphic is like a little birthday cake, still warm as well by the looks of it.
Yeah, it's nice. It's very reminiscent of Puma, if I'm honest. You know, Puma are very respectful as a brand of different cultures and not necessarily about their global appeal, if you like. But if we flip this bad boy over, this is quite nice on the back where they've obviously left enough space in the sublimation for the numbers and stuff. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's not a bad sleeve. We've talked about pivot armholes. There's a classic pivot armhole where the panel is all just cut out of one. That's quite a nice little detail. A little taping detail going through the back, which has got a bit of stretch to it.
Messy stitching.
Yeah, these are probably made locally, I would suspect.
They are made in Japan.
Yeah, there you go. Which, to be fair, isn't necessarily what you would associate with Japanese manufacturing.
No.
Because they are absolutely on point normally. But look at that. That is actually a great seam there. Not one bit of cracking at all. So actually, overall, I don't mind that kit at all. But then if we jump onto the next one.
This is Shimitsu Pulse. And the Pulse part of the name, Craig, comes from pulse relating to the energy of the fans. So,
and did you know where the colour comes from?
Well, it reminds me of the Netherlands home shirt.
Apparently that's what this team wanted. They wanted their kits to look like the Netherlands, so they wanted to almost represent the Netherlands in their colours.
So by the same logic, would this one have also been inspired by Grêmio in Brazil, do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think that. That's a very good shout, Rob.
Excellent. If anybody knows more about that and wants to mention it in the comments, please feel free.
Yeah, but it's interesting on this one where some of the shirts, again, have got different sublimations, heat transfers, they've got patches on them. So this actually differs quite significantly to the J-League badge there, but obviously this is the Champions one, whereas this one, it's not as good.
It's got kind of a denim-y look to it, which is interesting given Japanese denim is premium denim. So whether that's coincidental or not, I don't know.
Japan has got such an association with denim, it definitely wouldn't surprise me.
And they tend to like to have meaning in their design, don't they?
Yeah. But yeah, this one for me, silhouette-wise, isn't quite as nice as the first one we've just looked at. This has got a nicer neckline. It's a little bit more going on.
It's exactly the same fabric, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, it is. But I do quite like the camo on it. But again, you know what I'm like when it comes to camos? I always believe a camo can be created in such a way where it becomes unique to that actual team or the brand or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know for sure, but it doesn't look like there's any reference point in this. You can see a few maps actually. So I wonder if there is an element of the camo which is actually to represent their club as well, which if I've missed that, I do apologise, but it would have been nice to have seen a little bit more of that in there. But yeah, overall, it's pretty much exactly the same silhouette. It's just got a different neckline. And again, everybody's celebrating either the 30th or the 25th or 26th anniversary of the J-League. Next one is
Urawa Red Diamonds. And the red diamond comes from the Mitsubishi logo.
Yeah.
Because they are originally a Mitsubishi football team.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because, as you can see, it's a Nike one. All of the kits that we're reviewing, by the way, in this episode are all replicas. So we're not sure if there's many authentic team kits out there. If we do get a hold of them, I'm sure Subside will let us know. But on this one, we've got 2 stars, but you'll notice that one of the stars is a little bit smaller. And if I get the guys, can you just tell me again what the 2 stars and the 1 star is?
The 2 big stars are the Asian Champions League, the small stars the J-League.
Okay, so Champions League and J-League, so there you go. So that's actually quite a nice little touch. Again, loads of sublimation going on it. Direct embroidery for the swoosh, which actually isn't too bad on the inside. The silhouette itself, I think the neckline is from Poland, yeah. But they made a nice job of
the finish on it's really nice.
Yeah, and there's the raised heat transfer in the back. The buttons are exactly the same as what you would find on any of the European kits, bendy, malleable, not like the Castro ones, really quite nice.
Yeah.
But what is interesting, I've not seen this on any of the Nike silhouettes where you can see the arm has been quite cleverly designed actually. So there's a raglan sleeve at the back. So the raglan sleeve on a shirt normally runs from the armhole up and saddles over the shoulder. And then you have what looks like almost a set-in sleeve which runs up the front of the shirt, but in actual fact, if I show it from the side profile, that's actually quite a nice little design detail. I'd give them kudos for that. I think that's lovely.
It's pretty clever.
Yeah, really nice. And the way that they've done the fabric as well, the fabric actually follows the lines, which I think is really quite nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, quite like that one.
I think this is far better than the 2 Puma jobs.
Yeah, the fabric itself as well is just that little bit better. I'm not trying to be biased towards Nike, but honestly, it is a slightly better quality kit.
What I'm saying about that embroidered logo, how's that showing up on the inside?
Well, it's actually not too bad at all, Rob.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, it's nice and neat. But to be fair to Nike, they've got the perfect logo for it. If you look at the New Balance ones, that's your nipple grater right there. Right, so next one, another Nike one. Do you want to take this one on? Because you love this neckline, right?
Oh, yeah, so we've got Kashima Antlers. Kashima is Deer Island in Japan. It's also got a really interesting football dream on the front, which isn't
documentary
a subliminal message. Yeah, it is a documentary. Pretty straight up and down, feels more like a teamwear shirt, if I'm honest. It's got that neckline that I'm not a big fan of. It feels quite tricky, albeit it has been executed nicer than on the PSG 4th shirt that we reviewed.
Yeah, but to be fair, there's only 2 colours in that, which makes it a bit easier
to match up.
Yeah.
If I was giving it a score, I would definitely give it a bonus point just for having a cowboy hat
on.
Oh, mate,
I absolutely love that.
If anybody wants to tell us which company this is and whose logo it is, mention it in the comments because that is awesome.
I'd probably just buy that just for that.
Yeah, wear it back to front. Interesting that the badge is a different execution on this one, even though it's not a gold winners one. It hasn't got the denim vibe to it either.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, because they wouldn't allow that in the Premier League. So interesting that it has got a totally different execution.
And I think that's what's nice from like a collector's perspective. If you're going through some of the kits and the designs and stuff, there is those tiny little nuances that just make them ever so slightly different, which in years to come, loads of people will be questioning, oh, well, why was that one done that way and this one's done that way?
Yeah, it feels a lot less corporate than a lot of the European leagues.
Yeah, definitely. Well, even going to Japan back in the day, it was great because you used to go over looking for that limited edition footy kit or whatever it was. Whereas now with globalisation, it's far harder to do that.
Yeah.
But the whole football world seems to have managed to do that, and because of Subside, you now can get them. But yeah, joking apart, I think some of these are great.
Yeah, definitely. I also like that this one has got the single row of stitching on the hem, but doesn't crack. So presumably a chain stitch. It's just beautifully finished inside.
Yeah, that is nice. That is really nice.
So I didn't notice if it was the same. It is the same on this one.
Yeah, clever.
They've just executed.
Yeah, and it's mad, isn't it?
really
Because
nicely.
for the viewers looking at that, they'll just see that as a single needle stitch, but that's actually quite difficult to do.
Yeah.
Well, it's not difficult if you've got the right machinery.
Yeah.
But it's dead easy just to ignore that.
Yeah,
and
to
just
get the
put in,
choice wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, kudos to them. Yep. Right. Last but not least.
Last but not least, we have
Addy.
got an Adidas one.
Here we go. This is a big anniversary shirt though, right?
Yeah,
They've really
so
made a play on this
30
one.
years of the club, 30 years of the J League. They're definitely going for it in terms of the heat transfers, the logos that they've used. So Yokohama Marinos are part of the City football group, despite not having City in their name like everybody else. The label on that seems to be in keeping with the last shirt, so there's only one that's got that denim effect on it, which is quite interesting. From a make and finish perspective, I think the sleeve's really interesting. The cuff has got a rib and then a self-fabric edge to it, which turns to the inside, so it gives you a nice hit of solid colour.
I don't like that though. There's hardly any give in that.
Yeah, that's going to
If you've got big guns, it's not going to crack, but it's going to be uncomfortable. If you put my guns through that, no chance.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, my guns would kill that.
You've the helmet, you've been making gains since the last set of videos. That's clear. So yeah, this one, there's not really a huge amount to say about it. The underarm panel's inspired by a kit from 30 years ago. What lets it down is that I wish it was one panel, like the Puma shirt, because especially with it having the graphic running up it, which is a nice detail for an otherwise plain shirt, it just looks messy under the arm, and it is going to look different on every single player. Not a huge fan of that, unfortunately. This though, on the other hand, is stunning. So the 30th anniversary badge that they've created, what's interesting here is that they've used the Western convention of calculating the age, but it's just really nice. The graphic of it is beautiful. Be interesting to know whether that's come from Adidas or from the club themselves.
Yeah, that would be interesting to find out, because certainly it looks like Puma's respected the culture.
Yeah, quite interesting. And then even the sponsor on the back has got the 30th anniversary.
That's shite though. I think that's horrible. That would stop me from buying that.
I wonder what Owltech make.
I'm going to hazard a guess, and this might be a competition for everybody. What does Owltech make? I think they make tyres. That's what I'm thinking.
They make contraptions for catching mice or being able to turn your head around 180 degrees. So anyway, here we are with the big three football brands in Japan. For me, I think Nike have done the best job with materials and make. I think Adidas have done a nice job with the logos, but we don't know if they're theirs or the club's. Puma culturally seem to have got it a bit more nailed on with the little references that they've got throughout the shirts.
Yeah. What I would say is, if I was a collector, I'd be all over these. In fact, I would be making the J League a kind of regular visit for me.
I think so.
On a seasonal basis, because I just think they are very different to what's going on out there.
Yeah, there's so much more variety, even from, you've got the same template across two teams, but just quite different in terms of a lot of the details.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even if the templates were the same, it's just the fact that culturally, I just think they look nice.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. So, Rob, we've been through all the kits.
Yeah.
What we now need to do, marks out of 11. Quick fly. 5. What would you say? 5. Right, that's that one. Orange, what would you give that one?
3.
No way. 7. Next one.
Have a 6 because I like the sleeve.
Yeah.
6.5 because I like the badge as well.
Nah, I'd say 6. Next one.
Yeah, it's going to have to go back down to a 5, that one. Nice badge.
Neckline.
Nothing to it.
Last one.
Could have been so good, but sadly it's going to be another 4.
4?
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Every throw in it would just make me feel sad.
Yeah, great. That's it. There you go. That's what marks out of 11.
So yeah, we'd love to know what you think about the J League shirts from the big three. You can leave us a comment below. We'll respond to you and tell you if we agree, disagree, or if you're teaching us something new. If you want to get any of these shirts, head over to Subside Sports. And if you want to make sure you don't miss out on any of our future videos, remember to hit like and subscribe.
That was brutal.
Sorry.
Sorry, mate. We'll pay for it. Craig will pay for any damage.